Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio, and we recently finished looking at all the cards from the new Sky Legend expansion over in Japan. So I thought the only sensible thing to do would be count down the top 10 cards. It's going to be an awful lot easier than that top 20 from Unbroken Bonds that I did the other day. So a couple of honourable mentions before we start, cards that I like that didn't quite make the list. The new Ordino. I'm a big fan of the new Ordino, ladies and gentlemen. When it's in the active, you get to draw a card every turn. I like it very much indeed. And with cards like U-Turn Board, more on that in a moment, and a Skateboard, there's a lot of potential here. I just don't know how much play it's really going to see with Jirachi running around, and for that reason, I don't think I can really justify putting it on the list. We've also got a new Weezing coming out, which I like very much indeed. I don't ever want to attack with it, really. But if you discard it from your hand using Jessie and James, another card we're going to see as we get a bit further into this list, your opponent discards a card from their hand. So if you're playing Jessie and James, then every time you play it, you discard 2 cards from your hand. If they're Weezing, your opponent discards 4 cards rather than the usual 2. Yeah, I'm all in favour of this. And a couple of cards that I do really like, Normalium Z and Flyinium Z. These are the new Z Crystal cards, which actually can give GX attacks to non-GX Pokemon. So if we look at Normalium Z, you've got to have a Pokemon that has Tackle, which is a little bit of a pain. In the videos, I will link all of these videos in the description. I did go through all of the options. And then for 4 colourless energy, 200 damage, flip a coin till you get tails, 40 for each heads. Flyinium Z can only be attached to Pokemon that have Air Slash, 4 colourless energy, 180, and immunity the next turn. There are going to be decks that play these to give GX attacks without playing GX Pokemon. That sounds pretty fun to me. But none of them quite made the list, so in at number 7, we've got Blizzard Town. Blizzard Town is a very niche, awkward to use card, but there's so much potential here. It's a stadium that said Pokemon with 40 or less remaining HP can't attack. Now if you're against these Lost March decks, then get rid of all their Jump Bluff and all of a sudden their Natu, oh wait, they've got 40 HP, they can't attack. Against other decks, there are going to be particular numbers where you cannot quite KO, and Blizzard Town will stop your opponent attacking. Especially when we're heading into rotation and Field Blower's going to rotate, so this is not going to be that easy to get rid of. There is a lot of potential here. In at number 9, we've got Tapu Fini, or as I like to call it, ha ha ha, in your face Blacephalon. Because make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this is as blatant a counter as we've seen since we saw Heatmore coming out that literally did more damage if you were against Durant. This is just as blatant. Okay, it doesn't say Blacephalon on the card, but no. It's there. The second attack for free energy does 100 damage, but if your opponent has an Ultra Beast in play, you can do it for 1 colourless energy. Sure, that means that in Malamar decks, you'll be able to take out Malamar if they've got an Ultra Necrozma on the field, but this gets a 1-hit KO for a single colourless energy on a basic Pokemon against Blacephalon. And it's not really fair to expect any better counter than basic Pokemon single colourless energy. This is redonk. In at number 8, the aforementioned Jessie and James. You discard 2 cards from your hand, your opponent discards 2 cards from their hand. Cool. Frankly, this is great in disruption decks, and we've lost a lot of our disruption tricks to the rotation. We've lost stuff like Enhanced Hammer. We've lost stuff like Max Potion. But now we're getting a lot of hand disruption, and hand disruption is the new disruption. Your opponent discards first, then you discard 2 cards, but remember that Weezing I mentioned earlier? Your opponent discards 2 cards, and this is crucial. You can then discard 2 Weezing from your hand, and then your opponent has to discard 2 more cards. This can be an awful lot of fun, and cards like Weezing and Jessie and James mean that no, those pre-rotation disruption decks won't work anymore, but we can replace them with hand disruption. In at number 7, another supporter card, it's Maniac. And Maniac just lets you search your deck for free Pokemon with a retreat cost of 4 and put them into your hand. It's fine. It's basically Professor Round's lecture for high retreat Pokemon. The thing is, post-rotation, we are really struggling when it comes to Pokemon search. And for some decks, this is going to be Pokemon search. For that reason alone, it deserves a space on the top 10. In at number 6, finishing our run of trainers, we've got U-Turn Board. U-Turn Board reduces the retreat cost of a Pokemon by 1, but if it gets discarded from the field, not your hand, then all of a sudden, it just goes straight back to your hand. Make no mistake about it, this is great. This is great for retreating, because your opponent has to use something like a Fabber to put it in the lost zone, or else you just get to keep it. For something like Jirachi that goes to sleep, you've got to play Escape Board because it lets you retreat when you're asleep. But something like Ordino that doesn't, this is amazing. It's not Escape Board, and it's not Floatstone, but in any deck with Pokemon that have a retreat of 1 that aren't worried about special conditions, all of a sudden this is out and out phenomenal. In at number 5, it's not really a new card, but given that it was released back in Neo Genesis, I think it's fair to count it as a new card. And certainly Pokemon do, because they've literally listed it as a new special energy in the press release. It's Recycle Energy, and it means that when it gets discarded, it goes to your hand. This is awesome. This is ridiculous. Now again, like U-Turn Board, it is from play, so if it gets discarded from your hand, think Team Skull Grunt, although that is rotating, it doesn't count. Other than that, you just keep getting it back. Bearing in mind in Unbroken Bonds, we're getting Porygon Z, which lets you attach as many special energy during your turn as you like, and this is awesome. Really good. Any Pokemon that needs to discard energy, this has got your back. Or even just use it to pay the energy, and if your opponent drops something like an Enhanced Hammer, or that's rotating out, but something else, maybe the new Giratina that discards a special energy, then it doesn't matter, because you can just get it right back. And then you're absolutely golden. In at number 4, we've got KELDEO-GX. Now, KELDEO-GX is notable because it's got Hooper's ability. It has literally got the same ability as the Hooper from Shining Legends. Except this is better than the Hooper from Shining Legends. Yes, it gives up 2 prizes if your opponent can KO it, but it's also got a lot more HP. But you've got Brooklet Hill to search it out. Well, you have an expander that is rotating. But even better than that, you got Cyrus Prism Star. And Cyrus Prism Star, if you've got a water Pokemon in the active, your opponent chooses 2 of their bench Pokemon and shuffles all the rest back into their deck. So it's a wall Pokemon that can use Cyrus Prism Star. Yeah, that's pretty good for me. And it's got significantly better attacks than Hooper did anyway. Free energy, 110, goes through any effects on the defending Pokemon. Or GX attack, free energy, 50 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's literally just Dangerous Rogue. It's Lycanroc's GX attack. It's really good. Incidentally, it's also Silvali's GX attack. Yeah, these cycle back around now. It's what they do. In at number 3, we've got Rowlet and the Alolan Exeggutor. And some of you are going to argue this should be number 1 on the list, and if you do, I ain't going to be terribly mad at you. On my list, I have literally left a space between 1, 2, and 3 and the rest. I do believe the top 3 are significantly better than the rest in the set. I think there is a clear line of delineation. Best thing about Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor, 0 energy. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your grass Pokemon, put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. If you search for a stage 1, you may search your deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and evolve it. Yeah, this can get a turn 1 Venusaur. We saw a deck playing that the other day. I'll pop a link in the description. Indeed, you can just whack down a basic grass Pokemon, bearing in mind after rotation we got bad Pokemon search, but we're still going to have Netball, and then for 0 energy just evolve it straight into a stage 2. That's ridiculous. Free energy, 150, heal 30 is fine. And 3 energy, 200, not good. 6 energy, 200, your opponent shuffles all their energy from all of their Pokemon back in their deck. That I can get on board with. That could be kind of fun. I think it really is here just for evolving your grass Pokemon, which is why it's in at number 3, but make no mistake, it's still great. In at number 2, a Pokemon that is changing the game over in Japan at the moment, it's Froslass. 1 water energy, put 7 damage counters on this Pokemon, do 20 damage for each damage counter you placed in this way. It is a stage 1 that for a single water energy can get a 1-hit KO on Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team GX, which is running away best deck in the format at the moment over in Japan, who are playing what we're about to be playing. In a recent 1,500 person tournament, 39% of the top 64 was Reshiram and Charizard. It is running away best deck in the format, and this is just a silver bullet counter. I'm not putting it at number 1 because if Reshiram and Charizard go away, this is a decent single energy attacker that can take out most non-GXs, but it's no longer phenomenal. But in a format where Reshiram and Charizard is the best deck without question, this is over the top ridiculous. But in at number 1, we've got the new NAGANADEL-GX. It took approximately 0 days until this started winning tournaments. Naganadel is just flat out great in every respect. The ability, once during your turn, you may discard an Ultra Beast from your hand and draw 3 cards. So you've got great draw power here. But it's also an Ultra Beast, so you can search it out with Ultra Space. And it's a Dragon Pokemon, so you can search it with Mysterious Treasure. So even after rotation, when Pokemon search options are bad, you can search this one out super easily. Plus, being an Ultra Beast, you've got Beast Energy to do extra damage. You've got Beast Ring to accelerate. We've got good stuff here. But as well as being a draw engine, which incidentally means it's great with the old NAGANADEL-GX, the old NAGANADEL-GX did 20 damage for each Ultra Beast you've got in play, and eventually fell down because you had no draw engine. Well, now you do, so that one's way better. And it's just draw engine in any Ultra Beast deck, and it's got good attacks. Psychic, free, colorless, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 170 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. The deck that was winning in Japan played the new Porygon Z along with Rescue Energy, because then the Rescue Energy bounced to your hand and you can reattach them. Or you can play it with Malamar, or you can use Beast Ring. There are many options. And then you do 170 to any of your opponent's Pokemon, including the bench. Which means if your opponent plays Dedenne, as an awful lot of people will, yeah, it's going down. And then you got a GX attack for 1 lightning energy. You take a card from your opponent's discard pile and add it to their face down prizes. So they've got to take an extra prize to win the game, and they've lost a card from their discard pile they might have wanted to try and recover. Everything about this is great. I think it's a clear number 1. But I'd like to know what you think, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.